Yo, welcome back to the Mas Futbol podcast, the number one soccer podcast in South OKC. I'm your host, Ricardo Ulloa, and with me today, Paulo. What's up, man?
What is up?
How are you today?
Good, how are you?
Tarde, pero sin sueño.
Bruh, these early morning ones always get me.
We're going to get you straightened out, bro. We got you. I definitely want to thank first Selva Studios for the studio and the sponsorship. You can find them at 217 Southwest 25th Street in Calle 25. Their schedule is on Instagram, and they are doing a lot of pop-ups right now. So, bring the Selva to your house one plant at a time. Hit up Pollo, hit up Selena. You know what they're doing. But with me today, I have a special guest, an ex-professional soccer player. This might be the first time I've had an ex-professional soccer player. From downtown OKC, Southside OKC, the Doggpound crew, Justin Chavez. What's up, man? How are you?
I'm good, man. It's pleasure being on here. I've heard a lot of these podcasts. I'm really excited to be on here.
Nice, man. I'm excited to have you on here as well. I've had a lot of people request for you to be on. I've tried to get somebody from Doggpound, and everybody pointed me in your direction, so I'm happy that you're able to jump on the podcast, bro. It's going to be tight.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Ask away.
For sure. So before we go any further, tell me a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself to me.
Well, Justin Chavez. I'm born and raised in Oklahoma City. Played soccer my whole life, and that's pretty much my background, soccer. Doing something totally different now these days, but it's more of a construction company. I'm the general manager now.
Oh, yeah?
I've been doing that for 3 years now. It's Bartley Industries. If you guys ever need electrical, welding, fence, cathodic protection, and HVAC, just let me know.
A little bit of everything. Are you the contractor? You said you're
I'm the general manager,
the GM.
So I watch over everything.
And metal. You don't get your hands dirty or what?
Oh, I get my hands dirty.
You get your hands dirty? That's good. I used to do some general construction, and I mean, it sounds hard, but I think it's pretty fun. It's fulfilling getting to work and then watching your finished project.
Yeah.
Because my dad was always the type that would drive by and be like, esa iglesia, yo la hice. Ese indio on top of the Capitol, yo lo puse ahí. That's him. But thank you for coming on, man. Let me tell you about the first time I had heard of the legend of Justin Chavez. I had heard that you went to Grant and then transferred over to Edmond, won a state championship there, went on to play at TU, won a couple awards there at TU, got drafted, went to go to Chicago, didn't work out, and then after that it kind of gets hazy. This is all from Cookson, by the way. Cookson told me this yesterday. Shout out to Cookson. Cookson's probably listening to this, but he gave me a rundown of all the U.S. Grant players that he had. Because after you, he started telling me about Josh.
Yeah.
But then you had your time at Tampa Bay.
Went to Fort Lauderdale before that.
Fort Lauderdale, okay. Then you had the Rowdies.
Yep.
And then finished it off here at Energy?
Yes, sir.
Well, we can't say finish it off because you're still signed to Doggpound right now, but you're still doing your thing. Am I pretty accurate? Is that how it went?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I can get a little more detail if you want me to, but yeah, it was a process getting there.
It was a ride?
Yeah, it was a ride. And, when I went to Memorial, I went to Grant for 3 years. Loved Grant, loved all the guys there, coaches, Cookson, everybody. Family went through some things around that time, and I got the opportunity to go play in Edmond, and it was a blessing because it worked out.
Yeah.
I had a few club soccer friends that played there, and we met up there. We, went on, I think it was a 15-0 streak, won the state championship.
And that was huge within itself. Like having one state isn't an accomplishment to not be proud of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, when I went to U.S. Grant, I got some few emails and phone calls about, going playing collegiate soccer and stuff. And I broke my ankle my sophomore year.
Damn.
And have 3 screws in it. And it took me out my whole sophomore year of high school, and then all the phone calls stopped.
For real?
So junior year, I didn't hear anything. Nothing. And then, that family issue happened, and I went to Memorial, and those same coaches started calling after I won the state championship. And it was literally, I didn't really have anything planned to go to college until the summer between senior year and freshman year of college.
Really?
All those offers came in at that time.
D1 offers? I mean, you went to Tulsa, so did you have more than one D1 offer?
So I did have more than one D1 offer. Campbell, North Carolina, University of Tulsa, and there weren't all 4 rides either. Don't get it wrong. It was the first year at Tulsa, they gave me 80%, which is great.
Yeah.
Tulsa, to get a degree there now is probably like $250,000.
God damn.
So there's no way I would have been, there's no chance. But long story short, coach said, hey, come in. I know you've proven yourself. I was just trying to see how your ankle was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Prove yourself, and I'll give you a full ride, the next year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I came in there, started every single game as a freshman, which is kind of unheard of.
Yeah.
And then I only missed one game because there was a 3-game week, and I still remember this. I rolled my ankle pretty bad, and then there was a 3 games. It was like Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday or something. And I missed the Wednesday game because my ankle was just like a balloon.
What position were you playing?
My freshman year, so it's funny because Memorial and Grant and growing up, I played center mid for pretty much my whole life. First year in D1, they put me right back, and I was like, all right, let's do this.
You got to do what you got to do.
My dad, when I was raised too, my dad said a good soccer player, they can play any position, doesn't matter. That's my mentality.
That's a fact.
Put me wherever you want, and I'll play.
Get it done.
Played right back my whole freshman year. Won freshman year or all-team freshman year, whatever it was. I won some awards. And my next year, they put me center back, center mid. I was kind of going back and forth. And then won defensive player of the year that year, sophomore year.
Sheesh.
And then got first team, for all conference and all that crap. And then my junior year, had another good year. I don't know if a lot of people might not know about the Herman Trophy. Herman Trophy.
I heard it's like the Heisman, right?
It's just like the Heisman for soccer players.
Really?
And then I think there's only like 30 players throughout the whole country every year that get put on that list, and then you get to like a finalist list, which is 6 or 5 or whatever. But I was just honored to be on there my junior year, and I was like, all right, man, I got to take off this year.
Haz de cuenta el Balón de Oro list. You were on the short list for the Balón de Oro, right?
Yeah, and then I was like, man, I got to take off this year. And then junior went okay. The team the team overall, we didn't do the best. We went to the tournament and lost, first, second round or whatever. And then my senior year, it was crazy because I had because my coach, my freshman and sophomore year, Tom McIntosh, he was like, you want to play pro? And I was like, yeah, that's why I'm here. Mm-hmm. And that's been my whole goal to be honest with you, I would have went to college just to experience it, but I probably wouldn't have been successful if it wasn't for soccer.
Yeah.
Because even my freshman year, I struggled, academically because when you go into it's in the fall, the soccer's in the fall, and then you start school in the fall. Well, I didn't care about school. I cared about soccer. And I did it, up and beyond for soccer stuff. But school-wise, I was kind of just, whatever.
All your energy went to the soccer.
I'll just, pass, whatever. But, I got C's and D's and all this other crap. And I got put on probation. And then that was like a big learning curve. And it was like a switch to me. Like, if I want to play pro, I got to do both. I can't just stick to soccer. I'm not that good that they're going to take me my first year. Yeah. But long story short, ever since then, all A's and B's.
Dang.
Yeah, so I finished with 3.4 or 5, whatever it was. And it was just a big learning curve. And then my senior year, before I got there, I took summer classes too because I wanted to. So the draft is in January, and I wanted to go pro. And my coach said, you have a good chance of going pro. This is freshman, sophomore, and junior year. Yeah. Take summer classes so you finish school before the draft.
Oh, smart.
Because so many people, they'll leave with one semester left.
Without a degree.
Yeah, without a degree. You just need one semester, and then when you leave, it's hard to come back.
Yeah, imagine coming back, even if you do retire at 30, trying to finish a scholarship.
Nah.
¿Qué opinas, Pablo?
Nah, that sounds literally rough. Because you're going through your whole process, and then you're like, let's take a step back. Most people don't want to take steps back.
Yeah.
But sometimes you need to.
Well, the main thing on that is it's all about money. Like if you have a good job and you have a semester left for your degree, you have a good job, you're making money, and then all of a sudden it's like, why do I need to go back? I have a job, I have a family, and it gets harder.
Yep.
Ese papelito, it matters, huh?
It does matter because if that job you leave, obviously experience matters too, depending on what you're doing now these days. But it does matter to get your foot in the door.
Yeah, they didn't just say, hey, Justin Chavez is an ex-pro player. Let's give him the GM spot.
Yeah. Well, so I'll talk about that in a bit. But
okay, maybe they did.
It's funny how that worked out. But long story short, my senior year, I tore my quad. This was in college. So my senior year, I tore my quad. I only played probably 10. There's probably 25 games in the season. I probably play like 10. And to redshirt, I think you can max play 7. So I played like 3 extra, and I couldn't redshirt. And And then that hurt me big time because I was like, man, I'm not going to go pro. I'm not going to do any of this and blah, blah, blah. Well, whatever. I finished my senior year with 10 games or whatever it was. And then I was watching the drafts and I was watching these players get drafted before me. I was like, man.
It must have been aggravating.
I was like, I played against them. Like, I'm so much better than them, but it is what it is, you know. I didn't have a good senior year, and I guess that's what all. And then again, I didn't play after that, so they didn't see if I recovered good or not.
Yeah.
But I got, I don't remember what round it was, but I got drafted pretty late with Chicago. And
how was that? Did you expect to hear your name get called?
Well, yeah, I wanted to get called in the second round.
I was going to get called first. That's what you expected.
But I was like, when I didn't get, I'll be honest with you, I had a laptop in front of me. I was just me in my house by myself with the laptop. And
no watch party, no one.
No watch party,
you.
nothing. Everybody was at work, you know, so everybody living their life. And I knew I was going to get drafted, and I thought it was going to be a lot higher. And when the first 2 rounds went, because those take time, you know, the first 2 rounds went, I literally slammed my computer and threw it because I was like, I was so mad.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at players and like, I was like, they have like, I mean, they're good players, you know. I'm not going to knock them, but I'm just like, I can't believe this.
I feel like the path to pro is very circumstantial. Like, how could I explain this? When your opportunity comes, it comes. But they're never going to be like, hey, Paulo, I know you got some skills. We're going to give you this contract, but we're going to give you 6 months to get ready. That's not the case. You have to be ready day of. And I only know that due to what happened with Josh. Josh had always been training, private training on his own and all that jazz. And whenever his opportunity came with energy, it wasn't like he can be like, no, I'm not 100% fit yet. No, he made tryouts and then day after practicing with the team. And if anywhere through that whole process he wasn't in shape, it's quick cut. We're not giving you a second chance. I feel like that's how it is. And on top of that, you had your injury your senior year. So a lot of things have to go your way for it to come out that way. I believe. I mean, I haven't been there, but that's how I see it.
Well, you have to look at it this way. Any successful person in the world, doesn't matter sports, business, whatever, they have to have luck along the way.
They have to have luck.
And I'll take that back. Some of the billionaires or whatever, they'll say it's hard work. It is hard work. But during that hard work, you had a little bit of luck. And that's just a fact. You have to have luck, and I've been very, very fortunate to be lucky at certain times. So
it's kind of like when they say when opportunity meets hard work.
And I even tell the Doggpound guys, like, man, the older guys, and this is a fact. Some of those players were way better than me. They didn't have the support. You know, legal stuff happened, drugs happen, girls happen, stuff happens along the way, and they didn't have the luck. They could literally be in my position right now. They probably could have been better than me. It's just the way life happens.
Just the way the cookie crumbles, huh?
Yeah, so.
Damn.
But yeah, and then I went to Chicago for a little bit. It was preseason with them, and then, you know, as a young athlete, you don't really think in politics and don't think about any of that stuff. And
but it's there, isn't it?
It's there, and it sucks because it's there in life too. Just business world, soccer world, sports world. Doesn't matter. You can call it whatever you want. It's politics. And I got drafted. Pavel Pardo was there. Marco Papa was there.
Pavel Pardo?
Yeah. He was
and you're a Pumas guy, right? You're not an America guy.
No, I'm a Pumas guy. Yeah.
But Pavel Pardo. I mean, I'm a Chivas guy, but that guy's a legend.
Yeah, he's a legend. And you know, the funny thing, that's the 2 biggest signings they had at that time, like best players for Chicago Fire, and they absolutely loved me. Like, they took me under their arm, and
you got to play with Pavel?
Yeah, I played with them for a little bit, and you know, played scrimmages and games with them, and practiced with them every day. And we went to, you know, go eat lunch, go gamble and stuff. We did stuff together.
Yeah. How was that? Like getting to meet someone at that caliber. Like that's stuff that's
huge.
Imagine you get signed now and you're just kicking it with Shaqiri.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's wild.
That's how it is. Like Bobby Barr was the guy there.
Yeah.
And it was good, man. He's a very humbled guy. You know, when you make a certain amount, you know, this is what I learned too. When you make a certain amount of money, you humble yourself. And then like the people that are climbing, you know, they might think they're a little more, their egos are a little bigger.
Yeah.
But when you make it already, you don't need to prove to anybody anything.
You're almost wanting to ground yourself and give back.
Yeah, and I'm moving forward. But like Joe Cole is the same thing with the Rowdies.
Joe Cole.
I
forgot you went to Joe Cole was at the Rowdies.
Yeah, and I'll tell you a lot about him. He's a great guy too. But just him too. Like they're so friendly and nice, and like they will pay for anything too because they have the money, and the two they know the situation you're in, and like they've been there.
Yeah, and then probably coming from other countries, seeing how it is here and realizing that it's just not up to par.
Yeah.
Probably does make them want to kind of give a little bit. How far or how close were you to playing alongside Cuauhtémoc Blanco then when he was at Chicago?
He was there, I think, 2 years before I got there. I think 2 years he left, and then there was a year without anybody or whatever, and then they brought in Pavel after that.
That's wild. Tell me a Pavel story. Now that we're just on talk. Well, how was it when you first met him? Like,
it was at practice.
just a nod and like the hey,
it was
the Mexican like.
It wasn't even like, hey, I'm Justin or anything. It was just basically, I showed up to the practice. You know, the big guys are over here, the rookies are down here, and then they're like, all right, let's get started, and we're playing 5-a-side, and I chose his group because like he's the best player on the team, so I want to be with the best.
So was it like a paisa con paisa thing? You guys have the paisa connection? Or
yeah,
what?
and then you know, we were playing and. I was doing good or whatever, and he was like, what's your name? I was like, Justin. And he's like, Justin? He's like, what's your last name? Chavez. He's like, you Mexican? I'm like, yeah. That's when it just kind of clicked. Yeah.
Nice. That's sick, dude.
And then we were playing or whatever, you know. And I don't know, we clicked instantly. And then I played center mid, and he played center mid too. So it was, I'm not trying to take his position, obviously, because he's the best player.
But he took you under his wing. That means a lot.
Right. And then even the coach at that time was Frank Colopas. I don't know where he's at now, but long story short, Bob was like, Frank, this is the guy.
And this is at Chicago.
This is at Chicago Fire, yeah. And then I was like, man, I'm in, you know, I'm golden. Well, so they bring in like the draft picks, and they bring in about 30 trialists.
Wow.
So like preseason, there's like freaking 80 people out there. It's cutthroat. Well, they end up with like 30 players, I guess, full roster and everything. So like 60 of them, whatever, 70, whatever, they leave. Well, me and a goalkeeper were the last ones to get cut.
No, damn.
And I was so in shock. I didn't even know what to say to the coach or anything. And like when he told me, he's like, we're gonna just have to let you go and blah blah. And like I was such in shock, and I couldn't even process anything. I was just like, what?
I got fired one time, and I feel like everything just kind of glazed over.
Well, I was thinking in my head, like, what the hell did I do wrong? Like. Because obviously I was proving myself on the field. I'm nothing on the field, so I was just like, I had the two best guys on the team backing me. So I'm like, what went wrong there?
Might have been the politics or something.
Yeah, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I cried like a little kid, man. I was like, this is my dream, and it just ripped up in front of me.
Somebody just snatched it.
Somebody just ripped it up in front of me, in front of my face, and I'm just like, and I was in shock. I wasn't mad, I wasn't sad, I was just in shock. Well, you know, I let it process a few days later, and then Pavel called me, and he's like, hey, sorry. You know, he's like, you know how this stuff works. There's just a lot of politics into it. And when he told me that time, I'm just like, I don't know what that means, but okay.
You're just like, fuck it. Yeah, I appreciate you for calling. All right, see you later.
Yeah, and I'm just like, good luck, you know, wish you the best. We'll stay in touch or whatever. And then, long story short, later, probably weeks passed or whatever, and I'm like investigating, like, who stayed and why they stay instead of me and all that. I won't get into any names, but there was an individual there that stayed, and he played center back / center mid, and the assistant coach coached the PDL team for Chicago or whatever, and that was like that was his guy. Yeah, and he stayed or whatever. He stayed, I think, for 2 years, and then when they fired that assistant coach, literally
that kid went with them.
Literally a week later, they let go of the player. So I was just like, maybe that's what happened. And obviously there's no guarantees that's what happened. But I think for sure I was better than him. But I was just like, why did he stay and I didn't stay? And then I found that whole little circle, and I was like, that makes sense.
Damn. So what did you do from there? Did they pass your name along? Did you go try out? What?
So they passed my name around. No MLS teams, because at that time it was like 3 months into.
By then everyone's already cut their extra players.
Everybody's already set their roster already.
Cut the fat already.
So I basically. Either they have to let people go and then come in at the right time, or I have to wait a whole freaking year to.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And then I came back here, and I didn't have anything to do. I was finished with school. I didn't want to look for a job. I kept training. Doggpound, actually, they were in 8th seed at Western, and my brother was like, come play with us. I was like, I guess, man, I don't got anything else going. And I didn't play with Doggpound before that because, one, my brother didn't let me, my dad didn't let me, my mom didn't let me.
I don't think anybody would want to.
Because even in college, like, I wanted to play, but like.
That's your brothers. That's the family team. That's the squad. But it's because Western is Western, and we wouldn't want you to.
Yeah, and they're like, if you get hurt, you're done. Like, even in college and whatever, and like, you want to go pro, just wait. Western's always going to be here.
Yeah.
Which is true. You know, there's always going to be a soccer league out there, like, you know, once you get older. But long story short, I came back. I played with them in 2012. They're an 8 seed. I played like 2 games before in the regular season, before the playoffs. And then they came in the 8 seed, and then we just made a run.
And that's when you guys won it, right?
That's when we won in 2012. 10 years ago, man. It's been a while.
That was a crazy run because that's kind of like an unexpected. Oh, Justin's playing?
Yeah.
And I bet you everybody on the sidelines was like, pues vamos a ver si es cierto. Vamos a ver si lo trae.
I mean, still to this day, man, they still
test you, huh?
They still test me, but
they're kind of like Mike Tyson when he got in a fight in the airplane. People would be testing him. They wanted to test you.
Hey, man, until this day, like, I mean, I tell her, and I don't talk crap. I'm very humble and everything, but
that's not true.
They
not on the field.
Well, I'm just in my mentality. Yeah. Mentality and, you know, talking is different, but my mentality is like, put whoever you want in front of me. They're not going to get around me. Yeah, I don't care who it is, and that's how you have to be when you're playing with the pros. I mean, I'm on the same, you know, page or field as Pavic, so like I'm here for a reason. So
exactly. You
gotta put out.
I think in our eyes though, it's like whenever you play against somebody has, you know, some achievements, that's our mentality. It's like our test.
Yeah.
Like, hey, he made a pro. Let me see what I can do against that guy and see where I stack up against you, whether it's you, whether it's Josh, whether it's any of these other players that came to Western, because there's a few. But that's kind of like a blessing and a curse on your end because you probably get people all the time. Whether it's indoor or Western, you probably have some stories of some dumb stuff that you've gotten into with some dumb people that isn't even worth it anymore. But
yeah, at this point, at my age and stuff, I just, you know, I laugh at it because, you know, they're talking crap and they talk about my pro stuff, and I just, you know, I just laugh at it and just like.
Yeah, because of him, he's just like, who are you?
Well, I'm just like,
who are you?
Do what I did, and then we can talk.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Again, I respect everybody's journey. You know, everybody has different situations. Life happens, family happens. So I don't judge at all. Mm-hmm. But when you come at me, then I'm just gonna smart talk back to you. But it's just after Chicago, came here, won with Doggpound, played them a little bit, and then my agent at the time, he was like, "Hey, some NASL teams are interested in you, but they want you to come." That's second division back then. They're no longer a North American Soccer League anymore, but they're like, I have a few coaches that are interested in you, but they want to see you train and play, and there's a combine in Florida. Do you want to go to it? It's like, I got nothing else to lose. Let's go.
And you were training. You're still training.
Yeah, I was training. You know, I was training, playing with Doggpound training.
Why were you training? Did you still think you had a chance?
100%. Well, my mentality was I want to go back to the MLS because that was bullshit what happened.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need to go back to the MLS and try out different teams. And my agent tried. And my agent, his name's Ron Waxman. He was the Bradley's agent. And he's making millions and whatever, and I'm like a little fish to him. So
yeah. How important is an agent in that role for players?
It is very important, and I would tell a young prospect to basically find somebody with a lot of experience and connections. Because there's a lot of agents, like even me, if I wanted to be an agent, I'd be a good agent, right? But I don't have the connections.
It's politics, you said again.
It's all politics, whoever you know. And he knows. The agent, I was blessed to get him. It was kind of random because there's some former TU players that played pro, and they got involved with the agents before me, and they're like, hey, reach out to this guy. He knows everybody.
Clutch.
But long story short, and GMs and agents, they do favors for each other.
I bet.
That's, you know, bring this guy on, just train or whatever, and then they work stuff out between them and stuff, and I won't talk about money or anything like that, but they do stuff.
Favors in politics again.
It's that whole world, and I wish people can actually experience it, because, you know, whatever you read online, that's just a portion of it. That's you living in it every day, totally different.
I mean, the only thing that I hear about the politics has always been, you know, when you go down and send somebody to play in Mexico, and for somebody to stay residentially, you know, you kind of have to cut them a check or anything like that. So that's,
and you know, obviously
real.
Some areas are worse than others, but it's totally there.
It's there, huh? Dang. So you went to the combine?
Yeah, I went to the combine, and then I had San Antonio and Fort Lauderdale interested, Fort Lauderdale Strikers, and those are the two teams that were really interested. And I was like, I told my parents and whatever, and they're like, they didn't want to give me a contract. They wanted me to come train with them in preseason. I'm like, I'm already here in Florida, so I'm just gonna stay here with the Strikers and stay there for about 2 weeks, and then right away they offered me, And then I was like, all right, well, here's my first contract.
Confidence boost, huh?
Yeah. And it's funny because this is off topic, but my birthday's on March 23rd. My wife right now, I asked her to date me on March 23rd, and I find my first professional contract on March 23rd.
That's the world lining up for you, dude. You couldn't even plan it like that.
Yeah, so anyway, long story short, I signed on my birthday, and I'll never forget my first contract, obviously, but...
You still have it hanging up somewhere?
I don't have it hanging. I just have it in the drawer right now.
You should put that up, man. That's an accomplishment right there.
Yeah,
Next to the picture with Pavel Pardo right there.
I have all my contracts in basically a little cabinet area.
Nice. Any T-shirts signed by anybody? Do you guys do that at the end of his cell?
Yeah, absolutely. In the NASL, I mean, I have a lot of jersey signs. I could name a few of them, but...
What's the number one that you got one?
For the NASL?
Any, out of all the shirts that you've gotten signed?
Well, I got Alexis Sanchez,
Oh, shit.
Omar Bravo, Drogba, Joko.
That's a list.
Yeah, there's a list. I got to go through my closet and see, but I got a list.
Damn. Drogba's, I don't know, I'm a Chivas guy. Omar Bravo's up there, but Drogba. What was it when he was playing with Phoenix that you got that one? Or how'd you get that one?
I was playing with the Rowdies, and he was playing with Montreal, the MLS team.
Oh, okay.
And we played him a few times and stuff, and just friendlies and stuff, and took pictures and stuff with him.
How's that process? Like, is this the shirt that he wore, or did you take a shirt to him?
It's the shirt he wore, yeah.
You got to ask him that on the pitch while you're marking him after
and then
slide tackle or something, or what?
Yeah, it was funny because I was marking Drogba and on a corner kick, and they picked me basically because I was marking him, and then they had like two guys run in front of me and picked me, and then he came up free. Mm-hmm. He shot it and scored, or not? He didn't score. He shot it and missed, and it's just like, God dang it! I was like, you owe me a shirt for that. And he was like, after the game, I'm like, okay.
Oh, and then you were just like, oh shit. In your head, were you just like, for real, it's gonna happen?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like the players you play against and with. Like my first year at Fort Lauderdale in 2013. I played against Juventus.
Oh, really?
And they had everybody.
Who was there at the time?
And this is when Pogba just left Man United and went to Juventus.
Oh, it's a young Pogba, huh?
Yeah, young Pogba trying to prove himself to Juventus. Tevez was there, Pirlo was there, all Buffon was there. The only three players that didn't play that game was Tevez, Pirlo, and Buffon, but everybody else played. That was their preseason, basically. And we played them during I think it was the summer or something.
How do you react to something like that? Like,
so,
how do you react when they tell you, hey, this is Juventus? How do you react when you're on the pitch?
So at the time, again, my mentality was like, I don't care. I don't care who it is. Like, let's play. It's just a soccer ball, It's a soccer game. It doesn't matter.
I've been doing this my whole life.
Yeah, and then, again, at that time, I know Juventus is a huge club. Spend millions on their players and all that. And one thing I'll never forget about that game was Pogba was playing, and I was playing center mid, he was playing center mid. We were playing whatever, and it was a 50-50 ball. We kind of look at each other like, all right, we're going to hit each other. Here we go. And then for the first time, I won't say first time, but I did beast him. He fell down. I took the ball, I played it or whatever. And I was like, that's all he got.
That's all you got?
The next play, I got the ball. The center back gives me the ball, so I'm facing my own goal. And this guy comes from behind and just crushes me. And I'm just like,
yeah.
Okay, that's what you got.
There it is.
And I was like, and it was a foul and everything, but I was just like, God dang it.
Yeah.
But that play stuck in my head, and then obviously you see Pogba now just balling out
Beasting.
and stuff. Yeah.
Winning World Cup. You brush shoulders with the World Cup winner, man.
Yeah, so it's crazy, man, and just the people you play against is because we played against Cruzeiro, the top team from Brazil.
Yeah.
River Plate, we played River Plate.
Sorry.
And I even trained with Alexi and Vidal and all of them. I didn't get their signatures, but I got a picture. I trained with them at Fort Lauderdale because they used our stadium to train. Chile national team used our stadium to train.
Word.
And they asked players to train with them, and obviously we gave them the best ones we had, and I was one of them. So I trained with them, and it's just crazy, man, how fast decision making they can do.
Yeah. And not only that, they make decisions quickly, and they're good decisions.
And they're clean. That's the main thing too, because I can make a great decision, but like my pass, my first touch, whatever, might not be the cleanest, but everything they did was so clean, and so like you have to be clean to be fast.
You have to be clean to be fast.
And like that's technical stuff. So like
Yeah, because if you have to take 2 touches to stop the ball and then make a pass, you're already 2 seconds
You're getting
behind.
crushed if you take 2 touches. In some instances,
Yeah.
Sometimes you have time, you can take 3 touches, whatever. But like in a short, tight space, sometimes you have to just play 1 touch, and that's everybody. What I consider a good player, if you can play 1 touch in tight spaces, because you're already looking around and everything.
You have to have your decision already made before you get the ball.
100%. If you have to take a touch and then make a decision,
Yeah.
in the pros you're going to get crushed in tight spaces. I mean, yeah, you can take a few touches in the pros and everything, but in tight spaces, you have to make your decision quick.
You answered a question that I was going to ask, is what is it that takes a person to the next level? I mean, of course, everybody's going to say fitness, but you can be the fittest flea out there, but if your decision-making isn't where it needs to be, what quality you think is the one that needs to be where it is? Just fundamentals, basics.
It's fundamentals and reading the game. Reading the game is the highest for me, and you can't teach that. Like, you have to understand positioning, where your teammates are going to be positioned and where your teammates are going to run. Because if you don't know those things before you get the ball, you're just waiting for disaster. So reading the game is my number one thing. And then, off soccer, you have to be disciplined to get there too. Just, people ask me all the time, well, I mean, what do I need to do to get there? My number one thing is be disciplined, because if you're disciplined, everything else will come.
Yeah.
And what do you mean when you say discipline? Well, what you eat, how you train, who you hang out with, all that stuff, what you drink, all that. This generation's all about health and like.
Kind of. You would say that, but sometimes
well, I mean, I get
show.
on social media, I have all these people. I went to the gym today.
That's your algorithm, bro. Someone else's might have cheeks,
Yeah.
on their algorithm. Not Paulo, but,
Yeah.
other people.
Well, I guess it is. But
That's not you, bro. That's not you. That's somebody else. I just wanted to point at you.
Yeah, sure.
I just think if you're disciplined in anything you do in life, you're going to be successful. And that's just financially, soccer-wise, anything. Because, people go to the gym for 3 months, and they think, I'm going to the gym for 3 months straight. You want to be a professional, you got to do it for years, not just 3 months.
What who instilled that in you to work hard? Because you have a lot of achievements, and you've done a lot of things, but what you didn't speak of was when you were by yourself shooting in the gym, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? How were you taking your personal training from high school? Like, at what point did you say, okay, I have to set some time to myself and work on my game? Because you can't get that level of skill and touch working with an 11 on Tuesdays and Thursdays only.
No, and it's earlier than high school. I'd probably say middle school is when
That's when you knew you wanted to go pro?
That's when I knew I was good enough to do something with soccer. And middle school, when you're young at that age, you're obviously playing outside all the time.
No, but at that time, your imagination is running wild. The Champions League anthem is this thing you go to sleep with, all that jazz. And then I've heard that your dad was also very into the soccer stuff as well. When I had Mario on, he told me how he had played alongside you, your dad, you with your brother, your dad coached him. He shouted you guys out, but was he the one that would take you guys to the games? Was the one that instilled it to you, or who was it that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it was kind of a joint effort. My dad taught me the game. My brother perfected the game. This is what you need to do, be perfect.
Is he older than you?
He is. He's 3 years older than me. And then my mom is my biggest motivator and supporter. So it was all kind of a combination, I think, and to tell you why I did stuff the way I did is the struggle. My parents, they're making, and this is back then obviously, but they're making $15,000 and $20 just them two. Didn't have food sometimes and all that crap, and I just didn't want that for me and my family and stuff. And I wanted to give back to them they gave me everything they could. Support, money, even if they had a $100 bill. $5 for food, here's, $95.
Because it's not cheap to play club or to travel. What club did you play for here in the city?
So I played with North OKC Padova.
What year?
90.
Is Willie a 90?
Willie played with us 1 year, I think, maybe 2 years. He did play with us a few years, maybe a couple years. And then, again, you have to have luck along the way, right?
Yeah.
Well, now they have scholarships for club.
Yeah.
Back then, they didn't have that.
No, you'd be lucky if maybe a parent would foot that bill or something.
So the coach was filling the bill. And like on tournament and stuff, they have meetings and all that crap. And the coach then, his name is Noor, and he was like, listen, Justin Chavez, great player, helps the team out a lot, financially not there. I'm going to put up the big bill for it, but I'm going to need help from the parents. And all the parents agreed, hey.
That's awesome.
Here's the portion to help Justin. Again, you have to have luck along the way, because if that didn't happen, maybe nothing else would have happened. It's just, again, there's a lot of luck along the way that I got, I've realized it, and I'm blessed, to have it, because I wouldn't be here now where I am if I didn't have a little bit of luck.
Dang, that's true. And then taking all that you had went through and know now, having kids, because you have a girl, right? I
have 2 kids. I have a boy and a girl.
You have a boy and a girl.
2-year-old and 1-year-old.
Out of all those lessons, like, what are you taking back to teach them? Or what role as a parent are you going to be for them in their endeavors and interests?
Just supportive, really. I mean, obviously, I'm going to support them, in any way I can, financially, mentally, whatever I need to do to support them. And I'm not going to force them to do anything. I'm just going to let them live their life, grow up. And it's hard because, like, the position we're in now, we can give them all the toys and all that stuff. It's hard
to spoil. Hard not to spoil.
It's hard not to spoil, because I was here. I got stuff, obviously. I'm not going to knock my parents. I got a lot of stuff. But I can give my kid this.
Yeah.
And why am I not going to give it to him if I can?
It's hard, isn't it, raising a kid? I tell people all of that all the time. I'm a sucker for my kids, because we'd go to Family Dollar here on 29th in Kentucky. And I don't want to say it'd be rare for me to leave with like a $2 toy. But, I mean, with 4 kids, I probably wouldn't be able to. But now that I have 2 of my own, what's 2 $5 toys to me? You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's every time we walk in somewhere, they walk out with something. And in the long run, that could affect them in some type of way. But like you said, like, I didn't have it. And me giving it to them is almost fulfilling something in me.
In my mind, I'm like, don't give them everything. It's just hard to not.
Yeah, when your daughter looks at you and says, Papi, come on. You're just like, fuck.
We have been blessed with my older ones, too. He's a boy. His name's Cruz. And I have been blessed with him. Every time my wife goes to Target every freaking day, probably.
But Target's dangerous in my house. Don't even say the T word in my house. Okay,
well, they go pretty much day. Like, she'll go drop the kids off to the daycare and then go to Target. I'm like, why? I just need to grab something. I'm like, anyway, long story short, my kid will walk down the toy aisle.
How old is he?
2.
Oh, okay.
He'll go down.
So they're pretty close then in age.
Yeah. I think 18 months apart, maybe 16 months apart. I don't remember what it was.
Take notes, Paulo. Take notes.
No. No, I don't want kids.
And then, but the good thing about the older one, he'll play with it on the cart, and then he's like, Dad, put it back. Okay.
That's my son. I don't need it, Papi. I don't need it.
But my girl, she's 1. She doesn't know any better, but she just wants, she'll hang on tight, and she won't let go of anything.
My daughter's the same way. I don't know if it's because she's a girl, or if because I'm a sucker, or if it's just like the second child syndrome.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling it too, bro. She's going to turn 3 on Tuesday, and my son is 4. So they're just about the same age as you are. But it's so fun, man. We took them on a vacation the other day. Now that they can eat whatever they can, and it's a blessing, man. It's a real blessing. Now my kid's trying to invite everybody in his class to Cancun, and it's wild, man.
We're actually, my wife and I are talking about this about a week ago. We're probably going to go to Cancun probably in October, November, as a family, and then probably my parents and my brother would go too, but we're all trying to plan that now.
It's an experience, man. There's something. I mean, even the kids feel it.
Yeah.
Airport, the whole airplane ride was a joy.
Well, man, like when they were born, COVID and all that crap, and we're trying to keep them away from everybody and all that. It's just the unknown, right? But now it's just like, it is what it is. We got to live with it.
Do you feel like your kids struggle having not been around so many people when they were growing up and now being just immersed in people because COVID isn't real now, I guess?
I would say for a little bit they did, but not right now. They going to daycare and all that stuff, it just they passed it.
Nice.
But I feel like, because my little one, Cruz, even me, I guess, but for about 6 months, we didn't let anybody come to the house just because, like, you're not seeing my kid, touching my kid.
Yeah.
And they would come over and just to see him through the glass or whatever, but.
Which is hard.
It's very hard. Family and friends, and even like my parents came, because my parents moved down to Houston.
You were in Houston when they were?
Well, my parents were in Houston, but they came back to see Cruz and all that. And even when they came back, obviously I'm not going to tell my parents staying outside. Yeah. So.
But there's that fear.
But they wore masks and all that. They, wear gloves, and they're trying not to touch them and everything, and just looking at them. And it's just hard. How can you not give your kids to your parents?
That's their grandbabies.
Yeah, so we went through that whole thing too, and I mean, luckily that's all. I mean, I'd say over, but still there. But we're past that stage.
Nice, man. Well, since we're talking about the stage after soccer, how have you been coping with not being able to play, not playing at that level anymore, not training 2 times, 3 times, 4 times a week? I feel like when soccer players stop playing soccer, there's a big hole in their heart. I don't know what it is, but there's an absent part of their life that some people don't cope with very well. Some just don't know what to do. Like, how are you doing with that?
I'm good, man. I'm at peace with it. I definitely miss it. When you do soccer your whole life, that's all you know. I mean, since I was 4 years old, I played soccer. And by the way, when I was young, I was horrible. But I played soccer my whole life. That's all I know. If you'd say Justin, soccer's right next to it. So now that I'm not doing it, I mean, I'm obviously playing with Doggpound, but now I'm not doing it daily. You definitely feel it, and your body feels it. You know, your mind feels it. You miss it, but I'm at peace with it just because everything else I have going on.
Yeah, I hear it. I can hear it in you that you're at peace with it. I've spoken to other people, and I think even now, so me myself have came to accept it. It's just you have to be at peace with it.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously I'm not going to be like, you know, regretting I didn't keep playing and all that, so it doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, after that, my last year was the Energy, and there's 3 owners with the Energy, and one of them gave me a division manager position, which was Donna Bartley, and she and I reached out to all the owners and I said, hey, listen, I think this is my last year, blah blah.
Did you know that before going into your last year?
I did not. It wasn't a choice, really.
On our end, we heard. Did your time at Tampa how did the transition from Tampa to Energy happen? Because when we heard it, we were just like, oh shit, there's an Oklahoma guy like coming to play here at Oklahoma City. But for you, I mean, how was it?
It was greed on my side. And I'll be honest, because people don't make the same mistake I do. But I was making good money there. They had this guy named Martin Vingard, and he was making, I don't know, a ridiculous amount of money. And he was a center mid, and I was playing over him. And I was like, listen, I don't want his salary, but I want half of it.
Yeah, match it, something.
Yeah, well, matching it, they probably would say F off. But
basically just put some respect to my name.
Right, and I was being greedy, and I was like, listen, I proved myself for 3 years, I can do this, you know, and I have years ahead of me. Well, again, greed. At that time, me and my agent were kind of bumping heads because I wanted to go back to the MLS and do other stuff, and he was like, no, you're in a good position, they want you there and all that stuff, ask for more money and all this. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I was like, we were bumping heads, and I kind of went under him and said, hey, this is what I want, to the GM at the Rowdies, and I was like, this is what I want. Let me think about it and get with everybody else. All right. Well, they said no. They offered me something, and I said no. And it was more than I was making, but I said no because I was being greedy. And long story short, I said no, and literally, this is what's very important. There's millions of kids that want to play pro soccer, and this is kind of goes back to the pro side of it. But like, if you're making $100,000, well, this kid, Ricardo, you probably would play for $50,000 to play 1 year pro. Would you not?
I play for free.
Yeah.
Some people do. This is my point. So like when I said no to them, they signed 2 midfielders next day.
Half the price. Two for you.
So I was just like, dang, I thought they were gonna counter, you know, something. Yeah. Well, no, and then I called back like a month later, like, so are you guys still interested? And they're like, no, and I'm just like,
Cañón.
I was like, oh, great. And then at that time, you know, this is late, and I'm like, God, I called a few rounds. Everybody has their roster, their budget's all done already. They can't spend no more money. Energy told me the same thing, obviously, and then they're like, just play for this, and then next year we'll reimburse you. Or we'll like give you more money, whatever. Yeah. And I was like, all right, whatever. Let's play 1 more year. And then, well, you know, they made me captain the team. I played, whatever. I think I played all the games. And then the next year they came, they bumped my salary up this much, and I was just like,
yeah.
So I went to go look for more teams, and I was like, and then my wife was pregnant at the time, and I was like, oh no, actually, we were getting married, and we had a plan, get married, have babies, all that stuff. And my wife didn't want to move anymore because she was like, I got a good job, got good benefits. I don't want to go anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So I got some few offers from somewhere else, but it just wasn't enough to make me like, I need to go do this. So I was going to give it a year, and I reached out to the energy owner and said, hey, look, we didn't work out an agreement. I think I'm going to get a job. And my plan was like work a year, go back pro, just to cover, you know. Because I was getting married. I had to pay for the wedding. And then we were planning on babies and all that stuff. Well, when I started working, my wife got pregnant, and I was like, oh, crap, here we go.
Damn. It's getting real. That's when you were just it's getting real.
Yeah, we planned it and everything, but it was just like, I wanted to go play pro, but I can't leave them here. Yeah. I can't leave her by herself. So I was like, maybe it is just time for me to hang them up. So my goal was, okay, it didn't work out. Let me take a year off and then go back, because people do that. But just things kept happening, and then at the company I was at, I was a division manager, and then they moved me as a general manager, and I was like, it doesn't get much better than this, I don't think. So
yeah.
It was just, again, luck. Yeah. I had a little bit of luck and hard work and stuff, and now I'm there. I've been there for 3 years, a little over 3 years now, and I can't believe 2018 was my last year, but it goes fast, yeah.
That's wild. Paulo, do you have any questions, bro?
I just think it's kind of goes into the details sometimes when we're talking about some players, like kind of what it reminded me is when I talked to you about the Mexican League. How it's just like we uphold like certain guys to like certain teams are like, this guy's really good. Let's because it goes back to his topic where it's like, this guy's really good. Let's put like a, I don't know, $7 million price tag on him. Some European teams are gonna be like, oh, this guy's decent, but $7 million, you know?
Like
it's like, I'm gonna go to.
They're not gonna buy the Mexican for $7 million when they can get 3 or 4 Brazilians.
Exactly. So it's just like price. At some point it's just like we said, like some guys are going to go out there and do it for a less price at some point. But I think it's pretty messed up how they were just like, nah, if you're competing with the guy that they're paying a high salary to and you're like up there with them, I don't know why they wouldn't. You know, it's just like. So he played in the Champions League. His name's Martin Vingard. He's a great guy. I loved him. Really good friends with him. And nothing against him, you know. I wanted half his salary. And I didn't even want his whole salary. And they brought him over from Denmark and all that stuff. And he was making great money. He wasn't really. I mean, he was playing, but I was playing over him. And to be honest with him, when we played together, we didn't lose a game. But the coach, we were more defensive minded that way because we were kind of playing together center mids. We were both kind of like holding mids, and we didn't lose a game. But the coach wanted more offense, so he'd have to pick and choose who he wanted to play. But long story short, and that's another thing. Like coaches, doesn't matter if a coach says. Like Frank Lopez from Chicago, let me go or whatever. It might have been politics, it might have been coach, it doesn't really matter. But whatever a coach tells you, if he tells you you're the best player, it doesn't matter. If he tells you you're the worst player, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I believe that.
It's what you believe and what you can do for the team and all that stuff. Because I've had friends that, and this is just an example, I had, with the Rowdies, I had a friend of mine, played probably 2-3 games through the whole year. Coach didn't like him, right? Went to MLS, went on a trial, got on the team, and he's making about $500K right now.
That's wild, bro.
It's just crazy how like stuff works out, and then I'm like, I just played with him, and he's making $500K right now.
It's kind of like what they say, the beauty's in the eye of the beholder. You know what I'm saying? So when he's not good,
it doesn't matter what the coach says, and like even if you go through a rough year, 2 years, whatever, if you still believe, keep working, and you know. Hopefully something works out for them.
Yeah, the world will give it to you. You might get to sign a contract on your birthday or something. You know, you never know. That's
on the 23rd.
On the 23rd, you never know.
It's weird how everything happened. And again, I do think I have a lot of luck along the way, but I've just been blessed, and I hope. And I'm an open book, man. If you guys want to, you know, reach out, have questions, or whatever. That's one thing I'm learning to do is give back, because everything I've known, I learned.
Yeah.
I'm keeping it to myself, and I need to tell it to people just because, and that's why the reason I want to come on here too is because I know how that process works.
Yeah.
And I've had a few people reach out to me like, hey, I play Tulsa, I'm gonna try to go pro, looking for an agent. And I've helped people out and stuff. It's just I want to help the process.
Yeah, dude, you're like our version of Pavel Pardo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I just realized today's the 23rd.
Today is the 23rd?
Yeah.
23rd of April?
Yeah, today's the April 23rd.
It was almost a month from now when you got signed. But yeah, dude, that's clutch.
Yeah.
Being able to come back and help those people like you got help from them.
Yeah.
If you ever want to jump on, let me know. Or if you want to do your own thing, we can definitely help you with that. But congratulations, bro. That's a journey.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
Now you got kids, married. Now the part 2 of the second journey starts. Did you always envision yourself married with kids?
Yeah, absolutely. I've always wanted 2 kids, but my wife wants more, and we'll see how that goes.
Dang. Well, it's like when the dad wants more, it's a little different. But when the mom wants more, I see, pues,
we got to give
it to him, We got to give it to him. But that's good, man. That's what's up. I have 2 kids, and it's very fulfilling. Paulo, one day, hopefully we'll get him married or something.
Nah.
Nothing on Chispa yet?
No, nothing. I don't want no kids, man.
No, okay. Well, can you tell me a little bit about your time playing, representing Oklahoma City? How was that?
I mean, I always, even when Thunder was playing against Miami in the finals, was it 2014 or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good final series.
I was in Florida at that time,
garbage,
and I was repping Oklahoma City nonstop. Even to my, the dressing room, to out to eat and all that stuff. And it was funny because I went to go watch a bar. I went to the games and stuff, and I went to a bar or something to watch and had my jerseys on and stuff. And man, I got so much crap.
So much heat, huh?
Yeah, but
Dang.
again, no matter where I go, I've always repped Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
And one is because I'm just a Southside kid that made it. I mean, in my eyes, I made it. To somebody else's eyes, he's like, you played a little bit of pro, whatever.
In the eyes of many from Oklahoma City, you made it.
Well, for my own goals and achievements, I did what I wanted. I wanted to play MLS.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get there, but that was only one goal. My goal was to play pro overall. So I still think until this day I can play there. It's just
the circumstances of life. You have more important things.
Happens, yeah, but yeah, Oklahoma City wise, I mean, no matter where I go, they know Justin from Oklahoma City. So I always try to put Oklahoma City on the map.
Word. Well, that's good, man. You got to play alongside Josh. Like, how was that? Seeing somebody not only from Oklahoma City, but also from Grant, from Doggpound, someone that you've seen basically grow up, was sharing the field with you at times and the practice field. How was that?
Good, man. And I try to help Josh as much as I could, too. Again, circumstances, coaches maybe not liking the style or whatever. But one thing, people, when they say pro, like, oh, he's going to dribble through everybody and all that.
That's not the case.
That's not the case, man. It's just like,
simple.
You have to be good at your position. Like, you don't see Neymar running back to center back and, like, you have to be good at your position. You have to do what your position does. And sometimes these new kids, they're like, well, I'm a center mid, but I'm going to overlap and go around here. I'm like, that's not what pro coaches want. Because if we lose the ball, there's a big gap right here. And then they score, they're going to blame you. They're going to be like, you're out of position. And that's hard for my parents and my brother to understand too. Just like, what, you can like go through them, you can go around them. Like, yeah, I can do that. But if it doesn't work out, my ass is going to be on the bench.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's another side of it people don't understand unless you're actually into it. You're like, Justin can do more. Like, yeah, I can do more, but like my position is holding mid.
That's your job.
And I have to, make sure everything moves smoothly and, tackle and do all that crap. You have a role to play, and if everybody plays a role, you're successful. But if I try to do like the number 10's role and like, let me play that nice through pass, and we lose the ball, then I'm getting screamed at like,
yeah, where are you at?
Yeah.
Where are you at? Yeah, that's true.
So I'm just like, it's all about coaches too. Some coaches want you to try to play that 10 ball. Some coaches want you to like break the line and go through. Other coaches, like, no, just hold, distribute, win the ball. That's it. You do more, you're sitting on the bench.
I think coaches are like priests. If you play for a coach you don't like, I mean, you certainly have to deal with it, but you can always move. When you go to church with the priest that you don't like and you're not engaged in church, you can always go to another church and find a better priest. Because you have to play by the priest's rules, the coach's rules, right?
Yeah. So that's a lot of things that, they understand I can do more, and I know I can do more too. Just there's only certain times I should do it, because if I'd mess up, and it's just over for me.
It's all about efficiency, right?
Yep.
You got to be able to.
And that's one thing I told Josh, because Josh would try to, Josh is a very skilled player.
Yeah.
He can pretty much do a lot of stuff. Excuse me. But I was like, just play simple sometimes. Like, you don't have to do the turn. You don't have to do that. Just play what you see. Just play simple. And again, I think his circumstances are a little different with the coach and all that stuff, but I was glad to play alongside him, and I was glad he was there.
Yeah, because
I always want to see people do better than me, because that means we're going the right way.
Yeah.
Just like I did better than somebody else, I want somebody better than me, because if I try to keep myself up here, then Oklahoma City standards is too low.
That's true. What is it? High tides raise all boats.
Yes.
And then he also did get to make it to the national team too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Scored a goal
in
the qualifiers, so that's an accomplishment within itself too, man. And he's still out there grinding. So Josh, if you're listening to this, man, what up, bro? Keep it up. But yeah, that's what's up. Paulo, do you have any questions for him?
Yeah, I mean, kind of going into what your name holds now. You said people know Justin from Oklahoma, and that's true. Like, you go around and they're just like that guy from Oklahoma who played for Oklahoma professional-wise, and that's a great name, and that's a great kind of attitude to have, not being that guy. It's like, oh yeah, I'm from there and I forgot, I forgot them, so it's great to be able to have someone in our community that's like been to where we've all dreamt of being, and having that for kids nowadays, where it's like, because you're talking about, this is like when you first got drafted, what was the year?
2012.
Yeah. So social media was kind of like in its like beginning stages. Now with the power of social media, all these kids have agents are being able to see kids like eyes, ears, everything.
Yeah, not only that, but 7-year-olds have Instagram accounts
exactly
with highlights and all that jazz.
So like being able to have someone still in like behind and not just through a screen here in OKC is wonderful for these kids. And it's great that you, are coming on here and saying, hey, I'm trying to do better with answering questions and like giving back. So that's great for our listeners to be able to hear that and say, hey, maybe I can ask them how to function properly as a center mid, or how to be versatile in the field, like you're saying. Because I've had a couple kids that when I coach, like right now this year, he was a striker. Last year, wasn't performing, and he was sitting on the bench, and we were just like, hey, we have 7 or 8 strikers. How about you come play? He plays left back. Plays left back now, and he's been performing left back. So he's just like, and then he comes up to me and my brother, and he's like, hey, I just want to thank you for seeing something different in me that I didn't see, and that's wonderful for you as a professional player to be able to come back and give to these kids, just because soccer's huge now in Oklahoma. I was telling those same kids, the Bishop kids, I was like, guys, when I played back in the day, like these small schools like Choctaw, Guthrie, like all these small schools, they weren't like, those were the 10-0s, But now, you play them and they have like
now
2
they have
or
better
3
stadiums than you do.
Yeah, now they have better stadiums, but they have like 2 or 3 or 4 guys that are very good at playing, and that's just showing you the growth. Like these soccer is hitting these small towns that are like football communities, So for that to be that immense, it's huge. So for that, I give you props for giving back to the community for sure.
Yeah, and there's another thing. I started a company in 2018. It was actually with Energy. It's called Chasing Dreams. It's all about soccer, really. My plan was to do camps and individual training and all that stuff, but then again, life happened.
Yeah, COVID hit. That's kind of what probably.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happened, and then I wanted to start it this year again. And then again, I had kids. I built a house. I did a lot of stuff and took a lot of my time. Now that things are starting to settle down again, I think next year I'm going to start getting back into it. So keep an eye out for that stuff. I'll have a lot of soccer camps going on. And my goal was to, and I'm not trying to knock any coaches or anything like that. It's just my goal was to have all pro coaches because they've been through the process and they've known these things. But, I might open it to collegiate. Collegiate's not easy either. So getting there is not easy. Collegiate athletes. So I want collegiate and pro athletes to be the coaches to all these young individuals that have any questions about mentally, physically, technically, all that stuff. They know what to do to get to that level. And again, I respect, and I'm not trying to knock anybody, but I've had coaches that never, they played high school soccer and then they're coaches in the pros.
¿A poco?
Yeah. So, and again, there's great coaches that are like that, even like in the Prem and all that stuff. But in my eyes, you can't tell me how my body feels if you've never experienced it. So like I'll give you an example with the Energy. Steve Cook, he's a good guy and everything. I think he played high school ball and all that. And again, I'm not trying to knock Steve. Steve's a great guy and knows soccer. It's just he wanted me to play like every single game and all that stuff, and even through injuries and all that stuff. And I'm just like, listen, I know my body.
Mm-hmm.
You want me to play these games coming up? I need to rest this game. And he might disagree with that or whatever, but he's never been in my position playing at this level and like how my body feels. And you have to listen to your body. People always say, what workouts can I do to blah, 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 blah. I'm like, well, I can show you the workouts I do, but you need to listen to your body. Because if I tell you to go run 50 hills, well, you're going to pull something probably because your body's only telling you can only do 20.
That's true.
And it's not saying you can't do it. You just need to work yourself up there, and your body's not ready for it. But stuff like that, again, that's all. You have to physically be into it until you actually understand. Because if I tell you, like, again, so like it's different with the European teams. Their practices, and I've seen them, and I've been there. It's very intense for like 30 seconds. Very intense for like 1 minute. Here in the U.S., it's like we got an hour and a half practice, train for 10 minutes, and they want you running really hard every 10 minutes. Well, your body just can't do that. And like if you see all these great players, Ronaldo, Messi, they do train, obviously. They have to train. But they're not trying to stay at this intensity for an hour. They're training for, like, if it's an hour and a half practice, they're probably actually physically running for about 30 minutes each day.
That kind of translates into how the real game is, because you're not always running.
And it translates to like longevity. So like a lot of American soccer players get hurt because their practices are too intense. Like we got to get in shape for the game this weekend. No, you'll get in shape through the process. You're not going to get in shape in one day. So, and it's hard, and like, there's a lot of stuff I disagree with the U.S. soccer, and there's a lot of stuff I agree with. But one thing I disagree with is like the coaching stuff, the coaching license stuff.
Yeah.
I don't care what coaching license you have. I'm probably going to, like, not everybody, obviously, there's great coaches out there, but like, if you have a coach B license or A license, whatever the hell it is, doesn't mean you're a better coach than me that I don't have a license.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, stuff like that. Like, I can't go coach a pro team because I don't have a license. Why?
Yeah, I mean, when I went to go get my license, I was among a bunch of parents who had never played and were only getting their license because their kids were playing. And I see we were just like, cabrón, like.
You can, I mean, yeah, and then it's the same thing in the pros. And again, I'm not knocking any pro coach because it's a process to get there.
It's some work to get your B and your A license, but at the same time, if you haven't,
Well, and then it's like they install a mentality in your mind like, this is how we're going to train, this is how you're going to practice, this is the drills you do, which is fine, right? You need a learning, the first step. But why is that like the only thing we do? You know what I mean? Like, why can't we? Again, being involved in it, you see so many different things.
Yeah.
And then other than just, all right, let me read this coaching book, and it says 5-a-side, okay, this dimension, okay. I mean, obviously, I listen to the basics of that stuff, but you got to be creative when you want to be.
Yeah. You seem like a more cerebral kind of guy that'll take it and maybe just apply things that you see. They'll see on the field.
Yeah, that I experienced.
Yeah, because there's probably a lot of stuff that you did that you were just like, well, how the hell is this going to help me in the game?
Yeah, and I don't know.
Do you see yourself as a coach?
I do want to be a coach at some point, and I will coach at some point. Just I want to enjoy my family first.
Yeah, you have to. Those first 5 years are clutch.
Yeah, so that's kind of my goal. And maybe, I don't know, I didn't put years on or anything, but once I feel at peace where I can, like, all right, because coaching is, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, you're going to go from 2 kids to having 20, you know?
Yeah, and then, like, time, too, like, depending on how many teams you get. Because I have friends that have 2 teams, and, they train 2 times a week, and then all weekends they're busy traveling, coaching. Even if you go to a game in Guthrie, Norman, whatever, that's pretty much half a day or something.
Yeah, and what are you going to do, take your kids, or are you going to leave them behind? Maybe they don't even like to stand on the sideline. Like, it's
right. It's a learning curve for me, too, but I do want to coach at some point. It's just...
Maybe when Cookson hangs up the whistle, you'll come in and take Grant, or what?
Hey, you never know. I don't ever put anything, past me.
No, well, we'll see. I might get that call March 23rd. You never know. That'd be cool, though. That'd be cool. So, yeah, if you were a coach, like, what style would you implement? What coach do you see that's doing it in the pro levels do you like? Is it like a Klopp or a Pep, a Xavi, Tuchel.
So I'm a big Barca fan, and I like their style of play and everything. I do think they need to be more direct at sometimes because they're never really direct.
Never. They rather keep it and
that's my mentality. That kind of coach, keep the ball, because if you keep the ball, it's less running for you.
Yes.
But on the other side of that too is the counterattack is a thing. So we got to have somebody with speed up top to, take advantage of that sometimes.
Nice.
But so yeah, I'm more of a Pep/Xavi type of guy. I mean, Klopp's done a great job too. But if I would have to pick, probably those two guys.
Nice. Paulo, any questions?
No, City just scored. So Pep's winning.
Who's Pep? Who are they playing right now?
They're playing Watford.
Okay.
Something like
But it's close.
Algo leve.
Who's close? Who do you think is going to take it? Liverpool or City?
Man, that's
in the
hard
EPL.
One. Yeah.
And then I'll ask you the champions here in a second.
That's a hard one, man. It's just they're right there with each other.
Liverpool has a more tough. No, they have a more
tougher schedule
end of the season than City does. Because City just played Brighton. They're playing Watford. They're playing Leeds, like on the lesser side. I think, and then the biggest guy that Liverpool has to play is Tottenham, and Tottenham is in like this battle right now with Arsenal to make it into the fourth. Because right now Arsenal won, so now Arsenal is 3 points above Tottenham, and they're fourth, and Tottenham's fifth. So Tottenham wants to win, like they want to be fourth. And I mean, all the other teams that City's playing, they're just like, let's just not lose.
Yeah.
You know, there's a difference between like, hey, no, let's not lose.
Yeah.
So I need to win.
Yeah.
You know,
that's true.
But City can drop points. They've been playing really weird. I mean, they haven't played like when they play the FA
Liverpool's
Cup.
in more form right now.
Oh yeah, 100%, yeah, for sure. Like, everybody, like Mo scored, Sane scored. Sorry, not Sane. Mane scored, and then Jota. Oh, those guys are insane.
They are.
So they are definitely in form, and I wouldn't mind seeing a Liverpool City Champions League.
That'd be bananas, man.
That'd be pretty insane.
That'd be wild.
But Madrid is also in
you think
form.
Madrid?
Madrid's in form, man. With El Gato Karim. Come on now.
Who do you think has a better league, Spain or England?
Right now.
Right now,
let's think.
Right now, it's probably England, but history, Spain.
Yeah. You answered it there. And then another question that I wanted to ask you, because you've played against some big teams. Have you ever had a starstruck moment? Like you share a pitch with somebody and you're just like,
no, because
they have them with you, huh?
No, again, it's just my mentality. I mean, when I got on the field with Alexi and Arturo Vidal, they're all smaller than me.
That's what I was gonna say. You're probably head and shoulders above them, huh?
Yeah, they're smaller than me, and like, I'm not saying they're not great players. I mean, obviously they're great players, but I'm just like, there's nothing that I saw in them that are like, I can't do that. The only thing that I saw with him was Alexi's speed, because he's not even speed, it's quickness. He's freaking quick. He's tiny, but he's quick.
That's Chile's golden era right there.
Yeah, and that's back then in 2013.
That's pre-Gold Cup, huh? Pre-Copa America, huh?
Yeah, so he was a baller back then.
Was he at Barca that time, or was that before his Barca days?
I don't remember when. I think that was after his Barca. Or actually, I don't remember, to be honest with you.
Nice.
I think it might have been at Arsenal then.
I think so.
If it's like, if I'm thinking at the same time, yeah. It's probably Arsenal.
Nice. You ready for the World Cup, bro?
I am. Are
you traveling to any World Cup, or are you just gonna do like me and wait until it comes to the U.S. and take the month off?
I'm gonna wait until it comes to the U.S. and take a month, and part of that's because of family and all that stuff, work obviously too. But I want to plan it, and I think I'll wait. Just
tell your wife like I told mine. We're not having any more kids until after the USA World Cup, so I can travel with my team of 4. By then, my son will be 8. My daughter will be 7. Traveling with the team of 4 through USA, Canada, and Mexico will be lit.
Yeah.
By then, they're good. Eating, hopefully they're all potty trained by then.
At 7 and 8?
Well, yeah, dude, I'm struggling with my daughter, but that's another conversation for another day. But yeah.
Yeah, Mexico's fans need to get on board too. They're talking about, taking them off that list because the fans are going too crazy over there.
You think so?
I don't think they will, but
I think it's all hypocritical though, because
what
flies in one country doesn't fly in another.
100%.
While Mexican fans are being, which they aren't anymore, for saying puto, which is just a saying. We're not saying it derogatory to anybody, and then you have countries where women aren't even able to go to the games. So it's like, where do you stand morally on that?
Right.
Like, it seems all hypocritical.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to pass, but
We're the ones that go everywhere.
Yeah.
Like we're everywhere. The Mexicans are in every World Cup. The most fans everywhere, bro. Like that'd be terrible for them. Terrible for them. But man, we've been on here for an hour and 11 minutes. Do you have any questions for us, bro?
What's the plan with the podcast?
Dude,
you guys gonna keep rolling with it?
We're gonna roll until I don't know. I don't have a finish line, but I mean, this is what it's all about. Like you telling your story, and then people that are listening to this are gonna get to learn a little bit off of that. And then I always ask everybody that comes on, if you have somebody that'd be cool to bring on, shout them out. But on top of that, like, I would love to be able to provide a space where other people can have a podcast, because a lot of people like the podcasting, but they don't know how to get it done.
Right.
So I could be somebody that if you wanted to come on, we can do one. But then more importantly, it's just about sharing those Oklahoma City soccer stories, because I feel like it benefits all of us. I see a lot of coaches, a lot of clubs, a lot of players with their head down, and they're just like working on their own thing, which is great. But I feel like that kind of creates some level of competition that can be negative. You know what I'm saying? There's all these clubs that want to do best by themselves, but when I have them on here, they sound friendly. You know, it's all for the love of the game, just to improve Oklahoma City soccer. So it's kind of like to what you were saying with what you had planned going on. That's the same thing with the Futbol Factory. Just providing free trainings to kids, providing some information, providing that confidence. The podcast is just like an extra layer to that onion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I don't think...
Onion?
Yeah, dude, onions...
I know, but you could have been like another layer to the cake. You know, like you could have been something nice.
Tres Leches only has 3 layers, bro. The onion is better, bro. I like that one. I mean,
yeah, I guess, but it's just onions are stinky.
Yeah, I love onions, but yeah, that's it. Really, just providing a space for people to tell their stories, man. And I feel like with you still have a lot left to say.
Oh yeah, I could probably, if I got into detail stuff, I can probably be here for days.
We'll save that for another day. Part two.
We need to do it like a part 1, part 2.
Part 1. This is part 1.
I know, but that's something like we need to have an episode where it's like part 1, part 2.
Yeah, there might be some topics that I could just hit on. And
well, I got one. Before you leave, tell me how Doggpound started. Tell me who started Doggpound. Why Doggpound? Why would you guys even do that? Because what I think, and I have to say this, my respects to the Doggpound crew and the Doggpound guys. My Doggpound has been around for so long. I would go to Western and watch my dad play against Doggpound. I started playing against Doggpound. There's a little Doggpound. Doggpound has even created a scholarship for U.S. grant players to go on and play, which I love and would love to be able to do that at Futbol Factory. So not only did you guys create a crew that came to play together, that stayed together, but you guys are also influencing the community in a positive way. And just seeing a whole bunch of people stay tight like that, you know, that's positive and that's good. And I think we need to have more of that. But tell me, like, how did that start? Who started it?
So I can't tell you who exactly started it, but I know it was an older generation. My brother's generation, 3, 4, actually it was, probably 3, 4, 5 years older than me. It really went off the rap group. Have you heard of the Pound? Or Doggpound, the rap group? Back then there used to be, be a hit. But they kind of mirrored that and then took it off with the soccer team. And then it kind of just took off, man. The Grant guys had Doggpound. They had a big, competition against Northwest Classen, which were the Bad Boys.
Ah, yeah, that's the Willie guys, the Bad Boys, and Jason and Anthony and all those guys. Okay.
All those older guys. And they started a little rival there, Doggpound versus Bad Boys. And it went on for about, 2-3 years. And then
I'd carry over in indoor and all that
from then, it just kind of started taking off. Like, okay, they had the older Doggpound, and then our parents got involved, so we had
older, the seniors.
OG Doggpound, and then my generation came, and then we had my generation Doggpound, and then we had a girl Doggpound, my generation, and then we had kids generation under that. It just kept, evolving. It was almost like a freaking soccer club,
basically.
And then it just kept evolving. The one thing I love about Doggpound, I have a tattoo on me about Doggpound, is basically usually like your middle school and high school friends, they're in Oklahoma and then they find life and they go to different states and whatever, and you don't really see your friends anymore, your close friends. Well, Doggpound, all those guys stayed around in Oklahoma City. And I mean, even to this day, they do cookouts, every other week, and they're so tight as a family.
They practice. Not very many Sunday league teams practice twice a week.
It's rough to play against Doggpound.
We practice every Thursday. Won't tell you the spot so you won't spy on us.
Nah.
No, but we it's basically like a family, man, and I'm glad to be part of it. I consider a lot of those guys family and not just friends, just because they've been literally every step of the way of my journey, and they supported all the way to buying my jerseys and all that stuff.
Yeah, they travel down to Florida with you. I have good friends with Gonzalo and all those guys. Like they've been there. They support, bro. They support.
When I don't know if you have footage of it, but when we came to play Rayo with Tampa,
they were there with their Tampa shirts.
Man, those bleachers were pretty much covered in green.
Green,
with Chavez
everybody.
Shirt on.
Yeah. I remember that one.
Just so all that support, like I will never forget it. Obviously, because that's part of my journey, and those are the things I remember. Just because like family and friends being supportive of you, it's kind of unheard of. Just because obviously you have family that supports you, but there's always families like. Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely.
That's in every family. I mean, they love that you're doing good, but they also hate that you're doing good.
It's kind of like when you open up a business. I heard this saying, it's easier to make a client a friend instead of a friend a client.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
It's very true.
That's the truth, man.
It's definitely rough to play against Doggpound because they, like you said, they bring a whole family. Yeah, and when you have like a team like that, they're dangerous, bro.
I've played alongside them and had somebody yelling behind me, like just talking shit about me. I had alopecia. I had that thing... what's her name?
Yeah,
that Will Smith smacked that one dude. Yeah, I was losing hair for a little bit. I wanted to turn around and smack somebody too because they're talking about my alopecia. It was one of the barber guys. I forgot who he was, but yeah, no, it's always, and that's always in good spirit too because everybody wants to be the best and whatnot. So
I love that though, for real, like that team bond thing. It's like it's really it's rare. It's super rare.
We've been I think Doggpound. Let's see, I think 2002. Is when they created it. It's been a while, man, and they've all still live in Oklahoma City, still do cookouts together, still hang out.
That's tough.
So you don't really hear that anymore.
Yeah, because that's like the team, that family team. Because you got the only other thing that I would assume at some point was like Acatic, like that was like a family team too. But that's a family team. But then you got everybody else is just kind of like just a team that they bring on these college kids. Mexico, I guess some, but they bring on a lot of guys. And then who else is there that's like a family team?
Yeah, but this nobody is like a USG team.
Nobody else is that family close knit tight community.
The only three teams I think Western right now, on top of my head, is Acatic, Pumas, and Doggpound. Those are the only ones that they have always the same players. And that's one thing. I've got invites to other teams too, and they're like, "Come play with us. We'll pay you money." And I'm like, "It's not about that."
Is Pumas still in the?
They're in the second division, and they just lost all their points too.
They gonna fight?
No, they had a player who played in the second, dropped to the third, and then went to play with Pumas. And I had just read that they're gonna strip all the points that he was involved in, and they're gonna start from zero again.
Damn.
That's that. And we want to talk about politics. That Western politics is thick, huh?
Western politics is another whole tidbit.
But we'll talk about that in a different day, man. I appreciate you for having you on. Your time as well. This is part 1 to a part 2, and if you can convince any of those other Doggpound guys to come on and talk their story, bro, it's not that hard up here. We're cool. We're nice. It's not that bad.
We can have 2 of them at the same time if they feel more comfortable.
I'm trying to have Johan and your brother.
Okay.
That'd be a cool duo to have. But if you can think of anybody else, bro, you just let them know. I've been there, done that, and I survived. What's up? I should have a shirt that says "Survive the Mass Futbol Podcast." That'd be a sick one right there. All right. But anything
let's relax.
Yeah. You want to leave us with anything, bro?
Nah, man. Just keep an eye out for my company called Chasing Dreams. I'm trying to help some people out and scholarship stuff and all that stuff.
Bet. Give me, to end it, some advice for those young ones trying to play pro.
The best I have is if you can be disciplined in something, you can be disciplined in soccer. And when I say that is there's a lot of steps you have to take, fitness, technical, mentally, reading the game and all that stuff. Start off with one, be disciplined at it, get really good at it, and then go to the next one. This
guy's disciplined, bro. He takes his health serious. When I asked him if he wanted to have coffee or energy drink, he said, "Nah, bro, I'm good. By the way, those are bad for you." And I had my big iced coffee right there, and I sent him a video. I threw that shit in the trash. I was like, "I feel you, bro. Thank you."
Hey, bro, right after that, I told him, I don't drink, I drink some bad stuff too, just not that stuff.
I was just like, damn, all right, my coffee tasted so bad after that, man.
Just put it back.
I just threw that shit away. But I appreciate it, bro, because I need to get on it. But, Paulo?
No, man, again, kudos to you for obviously making it that far. It's definitely truly a blessing that you lived out the dream that we've all had, at some point. And like you said, there is life comes your way, family, like you said, drugs, girls, all that stuff. And for you to be disciplined and have that tunnel vision towards what you wanted, I mean, you completed your goal of playing at the highest level, and then, you know, stuff came up, politics and all that stuff, and kudos for you for even keeping that same mentality, because some guys were like, oh, you know, I come from the MLS, I'm just done. You know, but you kept going, you kept grinding, and you also, what I respect about your journey is that you also, like, paused. Like, you know, it wasn't like straight, like you're saying, it's not an hour of intensity. It's like, you know, 20, 30 minutes of intensity for a whole hour practice. Because that's what people have to understand. Sometimes you have to pause. Like, you can't be, you know, gas to the pedal the whole time. You like said, hey, I'm gonna take a year off, work for a bit, do certain things, and then come back into it. So for you to be able to have that journey, and within that journey have its own detours, kudos to that, man. Respect to that. And I mean, I can't wait to see the future, you know, Justin coaching and then doing his company stuff.
The company's coming out next year, so stay on the lookout. And if we can help in any way, bro, just let us know, bro. Let us know.
Appreciate it.
But for everyone that listened, appreciate you guys for listening to this episode. Stay tuned for the next one. Peace.